such an asshole.
How you kids doing? AssholeConsulting.com. You got questions, Cappy's got answers. As long as you got money at AssholeConsulting.com. Cappy, background information. I'm a mid-20-something guy living in Canada, making $90,000 Canada plus base plus a $10 to $15 bonus per year. Went to school for engineering and studied and worked really hard to get where I am today. While I am grateful for where I am now, I can't help but notice the dude bro finance and business majors I went to school with, who mostly just partied and networked through school. A lot of them got jobs with similar, if not higher pay. If not higher pay, especially the few ones who got into investment banking. They get paid almost double of what I make if you include the year-end bonus and commission. While $90,000 is decent, it is not what it used to be with the high cost of housing and everything, not to mention the 40 to 50% real tax rate here in Canada. So I can't help but wonder if I majored in the wrong field and made the wrong career move by studying engineering and working in IT. I don't know if that's because they're simply smarter than me. No, they are not. I guarantee you they are not. They are not. And by the way, I'm not going to say they all ain't making that money either. There are some investment bankers that actually do make that money. But there is the reality of two things. One, luck, and two, who you were born to or what network you were born into. It's true. I'm sure Canada has the exact same blue blood kind of thing we got going on here in the United States. Some people are just born into it. And there is some people who just lucky. They just have the personality for it. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. But they are not smarter. I can almost guarantee you any finance or business major is nowhere near as smart as your average engineer. Are there high IQ finance majors? Yes. Are there high IQ business majors? There was one. I remember this girl. She had an IQ of 150. I'm like looking at them like, what? How are you here? She was cute too. She was real good looking. But I can guarantee you, yeah, aside from statistical outliers, they are not smarter than you. Question, can you please shine a light on what it takes to become an investment banker? Are they really as incompetent as you make them sound to be? Most are, yes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had to bail them out. That's the truth. What unique skills, attributes do they possess that most people don't allow them might be compensated, like a video? Bada ba bada ba. All right, so let me go through my notes and I'll go through any questions of yours that I handed. All right. First, I can guarantee you this. They are lying about how much money they make. Some make more than you. There's no doubt about it. But when you say investment banks and then just finance and business majors in general, they are lying. I guarantee you 85% of them are lying about how much money they make. Do they not make that much money? Some do make more than you. That's true. Because there are some people they're like rock star lawyers, right? Most people aren't going to make it in investment banking. Most people get a salary they want it, but then there's like this top edge, this top echelon. They make movies out of people like this. Yeah, they make hundreds of millions. Oh yeah, certainly. But for every one of them, there's like 10,000 wannabes. And the way they got there, you had to be a little bit intelligent and all that, but they had networks and they had connections. They went to the right schools. That's it. That's all it is. They're good at sucking dick. And they're good at playing the game. They're good at networking. Right? And that sometimes that pays off. But they're the exception, not the rule. Rank and file business majors and finance bros? No, they're lying, guarantee you. And their incomes, if they're in sales, is you just wait for a recession. This is why pay very close attention next time you're talking. Did they say I did 100 million in business, bro? That means absolutely nothing. That just means he sold $100 million worth of whatever. His commission on that? What is his commission on that? 100,000? Okay. 80,000? But generally, right off the bat, most of them are lying about it. 2, did you adjust for cost of living? Now, I know you're in Canada, and yes, things are very expensive because your pretty boy Floyd, pussy of a president up there, wants everything on easy mode and wants you all to pay for it. But I got to imagine Canada, Toronto is your financial hub, right? Did you adjust for inflation or cost of living, rather, I should say? Everyone brags about how they make six figures in Silicon Valley, which is like making 40 grand anywhere else. Well, I got 120,000, bro. I'm working over at the bulge bracket in Wall Street. Oh, yeah, you got to pay Wall Street prices. You never get to leave that island. And so your cost of your effective purchasing power is more like 35,000. And then in these places, I don't know if Toronto is the same way, but certainly in Silicon Valley or Connecticut or New York, they have incredibly high taxes. So that's another thing. I know you're looking at gross income. All right. I would back out the taxes and ask what the cost of what does that get you in Cupertino, California? What does that get you in Battery Park? Like, do you rent a cardboard hut? What do you get with your 89,000 working over that investment bank? Another thing, although this is starting to change a little bit because people are no longer like desiring to go into investment banking because it's just like, well, that's bullshit. There is, I would still say, the culture of working 100-hour work weeks because you got to prove it, bro. Do you want to work 100 hours a week? I did that back in the day as more work in security, but I worked 80 hours a week for years. And then when I taught dance classes and all that, it was more like 100. I still probably work around 70 to 80 hours a week today, though I finally get to, this, I don't know if you call this work, which I kind of don't. I'm busy. I'm busy 80 hours a week. Let's put it that way. But these guys got no lives, man. They got no lives. They just sitting there and they crunch their numbers and they got to go suck cock and go on road trips. And when road trips, that sounds fun. Now, like sales trips, they got to go. They got to do a sales presentation. Um, the the culture is just like working with a bunch of middle school girls. It's all backstabby and who you hang and all that bullshit. Again, it might have changed since the 90s and the aughts. Do you want that? Or do you like the fact that you're an engineer and you say, yeah, 5 plus 5 is 10? And that's according to my calculations. And they're like, yeah, 5 plus 5 is 10. Investment banks, finance in general, business. Could you make it 11, bro? I can't emphasize this enough. The financial crisis and other bailouts that have happened, and more recently, what SVB, it proves these people are dumb and they don't know what they're doing. And they can only get by, I want to say stealing. It's not stealing, but scamming. By, oh, yeah, we'll make all these loans and some to the suckers over in Norway. Look that up. That happened. Hey, you want some real estate portfolio exposure in the United States? Here's a mortgage-backed securities. Have fun with it, Sven. Dude, bro, I got a commission selling to the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. So yeah, do you want that lifestyle? And if you do, you're wrong. And here's another question I got to ask for you. Okay. You make 90,000, which you can, I know it leaves for wanting, but what would you do with 150,000? What would you do with $250,000? What would you do with $1 million? Because you're at the exact age, you're in your mid-20s. You're like, I got to compete, bro. No. You're wrong. 100% wrong. Do you want to beat the investment bankers? Do you want to have a better life than them? Do you want to beat them? All right. It's not money. Money's going out of fashion, right? You got enough, right? You got enough. We got the technology and everything. Even with the welfare state that disproportionately women vote for, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be popular. And you pay those taxes. Food is pretty ample. Houses get a little expensive, but don't build more of that. The point is, what I'm saying is, what would you make 90,000 plus? Or you make 110,000. Let's say you made 150,000. What would materially change in your life, except for the fact you say, yeah, I make as much or more than my investment banker douchebag counterparts? And would you have different clothes? Would you change? Would that make you happy? And what you're going to find out is no, it would not. And that's why I got 2 courses listed below. One is called Achieving Financial Excellence. I would say take that one. That's the cheaper and doesn't sound like you got a spending problem. But if you think it's like, I got to have cool glasses, bro, and Louis Vuitton jock straps, and I got to have like my Patagonia vest, bro, If you're still thinking like a middle schooler, yeah, then you need the achieving minimalism course. There's 2 courses I offer. They're both achieving something. One is achieving financial excellence. You need that one because the main goal in life is not money. I have, I guess, competitors or maybe not even adversaries. That's too strong a word, but people in the past, like, oh yeah, I want to show them, bro. I'm going to show up in my my high school reunion, and I'm gonna. It's a dick comparing competition. Like, no, I beat them all. I beat them all because like I get to do what I want all the time, pretty much, and this is my job. I won. I won because I have the most amount of freedom. Right? They're still thinking like I got the best car. I got I'm like, you got testicular cancer because you didn't check it. You got bowel cancer because you didn't check it. You're old and you're fat, but you got a lot of money. That's right, buddy. You sure won. You sure won living over there in that fancy neighborhood with that fancy car. You sure did, buddy. Now I'm gonna go hike. Look at my Instagram page. I don't take picture of money. I take pictures of hikes. Take pictures of beautiful scenery that I get to see with my own eyes. That's how you beat them. You want to beat them? That's how you beat them. You don't play at their own game that you can't win. You're an engineer. You're too empirical. You ain't do-broy enough. You ain't sleaze. You ain't scum. It doesn't sound like you're connected either. It also doesn't sound like you're going to suck dick and do networking. Like networking, have you ever been to a networking event? Talk about a pissing away of time. Just prostrating yourself in front of somebody that might hire you. Fuck that shit. So that's the overall philosophical approach you should be taking to this one. If you still don't understand it, again, achieving financial excellence, please take that because you're just wrong about money. But they're not, most of them are lying about their income. When you adjust for cost of living, it's not that much. And then when you consider how many hours they work, you don't want that life. And then their life, I don't know, well, you're drinking, you're hungover, you're trying to do the numbers the next day. Good. That's fun. Also, I got here, you work with assholes. All right. And then I also now investment banking or finance in general, there's a lot of things going on there, even within investment banking. There's selling securities, buying securities, market making. There is putting together deals, whether it's debt or equity. There's advisory like mergers and acquisitions. So there's different things you can do within investment banking. And of course, the finance industry is in general commercial loans, residential loans, mortgages, repackaging, securitization. It's all in insurance. Oh, what happened? Come on, computer, just work with me today. But a lot of these things have been automated with software. If you go back the what is it, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, literally thousands of people being employed doing hand signals. That's all computers. You want to worry about AI or technology wiping it out. There you go. Investment advisors, you don't need investment advisors. You got robo advisors. You got the index. They're all wiped out. I don't even know why they're around. I don't even know why you all have mutual funds anymore. What else would be? The actual investment banking where you're raising billions of dollars for investors to buy bonds or stocks of a company issuing or going public. That takes a fair amount of work. You got to go out and hustle. And there your network comes in where you got to convince, hey, investment bank X, do you want to go on the syndicated equity investment with we'll be lead investment bank. We just need you to part with $1.7 billion. All right. That's where your real guys are making the money. Those guys. Those are the ones because they're the ones with the attitude and the, dare I say, skill and the social acumen and the power tripping and the work ethic. It's a lot of hustling on that. And you're not going to make more than those guys. But even then, I got to imagine some of these commercial banks, some of the hedge funds out there, especially if you got trillions under management. I think the days, they're not limited, but they're less. If that makes any sense. I think they were charging, 5% of funds raised on a multi-billion-dollar thing. You're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't GoFundMe sounds like that technology. Like, hey, I need to raise some money for my thing. Okay. I think some commercial banks, hedge funds, Private investors, they got enough money now. They can like, yeah, well, we'll take that. We don't need no, we're not going to do it. Here's the money. Here's the check. There's the money. Do what we say. Pay us our dividends. But it's I've not worked in investment banking, and I hadn't been aware of, or I haven't really studied it. Gosh, easily 10, 15 years ago. But I just kind of look like, why do we need you guys? I'm sure on large deals, and it's almost like the publishing industry, like book publishing. It's like, we'll do it ourselves. Go raise mine. I'm not going to sit here and give you an investment prospectus. If it's publicly traded, you need the SEC. So yeah, then in other words, that won't go away. But it's not as glamorous or as highly employed. I'd be curious how many people are employed in investment banking compared to say 20 years ago before technology. So yeah, if you're jealous, you shouldn't be. And if you still like want to make more than them, bro, I please strongly recommend you take Achieving Financial Excellence. Because I don't know what happens to investment bankers after. I'm sure some of them make a lot of money. They're happy and they're wealthy. I'm sure there's some. But most are you don't see the 8 that washed out for that one guy to make it. Can you please shed some light on what it takes to become an investment banker? You go to the right school, you know the right people, and you network and you suck cock. Okay, there you go. Are they really as incompetent as you make them sound to be? Most are. They wouldn't have needed a bailout otherwise. Some aren't. Some are actually competent people. There are some smart people that work on Wall Street. What unique skills, attributes do they possess that most people don't, that allow them to be so highly compensated? In that case, if they are competent, they got the right attitude, they're good salesmen, they got relentless work ethic. They're shrewd. And they probably also paid attention coming up as a rookie analyst. Like they did pay attention. I say the really good ones, the ones that don't, rely on fraud. Like, have you noticed that Wall Street movies, all of it is about, oh, I was stealing money and then I got caught. Like, well, how about the guy that actually hustled and, raised some money for Apple? Like, there maybe not be as exciting, but maybe, there are those people out there. Yeah, but without a doubt, you got to be connected. You got to be connected. And then you get to play that game. You get to play the politics game. And buddy, you being a nerdy engineer and you get to hang out with your buddies and play D&D, and then you get to go home at night and go have a life. That's what I would do. That's absolutely what I would do. All right. Thomas Rao, McMansions near me are same as you described in Minnesota. What, overpriced and made poorly? Filled with a bunch of people who can't afford it, and they leave their cars out so everyone could see their latest car, their boat. Like they leave a boat out. Oh, we got a boat. Look at me, we got a boat. All right. For anyone else interested in those finance courses, or I guess they're more philosophy courses, Achieving Financial Excellence and Achieving Minimalism. The Achieving Minimalism one, that closes in 36 hours. So there you go. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.